Hello, and welcome everyone to episode 162 of Retro Fandango. I am Kevin, your co-host, here with my buddy Richard,
Hello.
Rambox Comedy, a co-host. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff in this episode. We got an outline that's just crammed full of stuff. It's going to be incredible.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be incredible. So incredible I can't even tease it, because if I do, it'll just blow your mind. We'll get some house cleaning out of the way first. Remind everyone to check out the Quick Save Club, who is now playing Torchlight 2. I want to check that out. I fired it up the other day, and it was still good times. It was one of those situations where I haven't played the game in forever, and I just started up my old save, and I have no idea what I'm doing, no idea what's going on, no idea what's happening. Of course, you would never, you never play games that require a save. You just play beat 'em ups, and they're really.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, yeah, the co-host.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. Sometimes you just talk. I've played a few games.
All right, go back.
Saves.
Let me finish the intro. You can go back to sleep. Rocket Sauce is here. He says "sup." That's what the kids say when they want to say "what's up," but they want to shorten it. They just say "sup." And Toku Joe says "yo yo yo." Got a lot of homies in the chat today. CC Prime. I guess they're just the Cartridge Club now. Now that there's no portable, is there really still a CC Prime? I don't know. Cartridge Club is playing Parasite Eve, which I have not started yet. I should, but I haven't. And RF Gen is playing Fatal Frame 2, The Crimson Butterfly.
Can you take pictures?
I guess. I don't know what that time is. Oh, Rocket says it is just the Cartridge Club now.
Yes.
Rest in peace, CC Prime. Fandango for this month is all trolls, because trolls are scary, and we are in spooky month, as all the morning talk shows like to say. So this is Curtis's revenge. I lost a bet to Curtis, and he's now forcing us to watch troll movies. So we're watching Trolls 2 from 1990, The Troll Hunter from 2010, and Ernest Scared Stupid from 1991. All the movies are in the folder, the Fandango folder, if you want to check it out. And then next month we're going to have Rocket Sauce back on. We're doing the Coming of Age 3-pack again. We're going to be watching having Rocket Sauce on again, but we're doing the Coming of Age 3-pack for the first time. Stand By Me, Rushmore, and Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. And that's it. That's the show. Thank you, everybody, for signing on. That's pretty much all we got. That's it. I mean, I put in the outline a few things that I've done. A lot of it's music related. Eddie Van Halen passed away. I know that was a big deal in Richard's household. The whole family broke down when they heard the news.
Somebody did mention that to me the other day, and I had to go, oh.
You know who Eddie Van Halen is, though.
I have heard the name. I couldn't tell you a single thing that he's done.
What about the band Van Halen? You've heard of Van Halen?
I've heard of it, sure.
David Lee Roth, Jump.
I'm sure I've heard, like, if you play a song, I'm sure I could say, oh, all right. I probably never associate that song with that group.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, Eddie Van Halen was a big influence on many, many guitar players. And I would say, for me, there are really 4 guitar players who were incredibly influential on the instrument itself, and Eddie Van Halen was one of them. So first you have T-Bone Walker, who was an old blues guy. He was the first guy to really plug in the guitar to make it to play the electric guitar. And he was, blues. He was influential on B.B. King and a whole bunch of other artists. So, there's him. Then you got Les Paul, who actually built the solid body electric guitar, making it like the number one instrument in rock and roll. Then you got Jimi Hendrix, who introduced a lot of distortion and guitar pedals and the wah-wah pedal and all that. And then Eddie Van Halen. That's it.
What did he do?
Eddie Van Halen was to not get too technical, basically there were two main guitars that most guitar players would play. There would be Gibson branded guitars like your Les Paul and your SG, and what they had were these big humbucker pickups in there. Those are the things in the guitar that pick up the vibration of the strings, and they had a certain sound. And then you had your Stratocaster, which had single coil pickups. That would be something that Jimi Hendrix would use, but it had like a bridge on it. It basically how the strings were put over top of it. It had the thing called the whammy bar where you could. It's actually called a vibrato handle.
It's the little stick.
Bombs. The little stick. Right. So basically what he did was he took those two guitars and he smucked them together. And that kind of changed everything in terms of sound and what people could do with guitars and that. And he was really flashy. He was the big flashy guitar player, which everybody in the 80s, all those 80s metal bands and that were all doing some version of Van Halen. For better or for worse, like some of those bands really came and went really quick, but you can't deny that how influential he was on everybody, that came after him. So, and Rocket Sauce points out that Les Paul is from Wisconsin, and he is correct. So there you go. That's your lesson on Eddie Van Halen. He was a big influence on me. I listened to all of his albums. I have them all. I really missed. It kind of like took a chunk out of me this week when I found out that information, because it came out of left field. Like everybody knew that he had like some battles with cancer. About 15 years ago, it came out that he had throat cancer. And he was adamant that it was these metal picks that he would put in his mouth. He was experimenting with different kinds of guitar picks, and your guitar pick is plastic, but he was using these metal ones. And, as a guitar player, you're always like changing out chords and moving stuff around. So you always put your guitar pick in your mouth while you're moving stuff around. And he would claim that him holding these metal picks that he was experimenting with in his mouth is what gave him throat cancer. But meanwhile, the guy was like the biggest smoker. You see him in any interview, a lot of times playing on stage, he always had a cigarette in his hand or in his mouth all the time. And everybody would tell him, Eddie, man, it's the cigs, and he was an addict, right? So you kind of refuse to believe it. You make up excuses in that. But then he beat that. Like that was like 15 years ago or whatever. But cancer is like just a terrible disease where it just keeps coming and going. You think you beat it one time and then it comes back. And this time it spread down to all of his other organs, including his lungs. And apparently he went really fast. Like everybody in the know knew that he was sick, but then it was like just within the last couple of days, he got really sick within the last few days, and then he was gone. Which I suppose is a bit of a blessing, instead of it being dragged out. Because I've been in hospitals where there's someone there dying of cancer and it's dragged out, and it is awful. Yeah. Awful for the family and awful for the person.
Don't smoke, kids. Rocket Sauce, stop smoking. Tokujo, stop smoking right now.
Well, I imagine you do not smoke at all.
Never have.
I do partake in the occasional cigar.
How dare you?
And I think doing something like that in moderation is fine. I'm talking like once or twice a year at most.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole casual smoking thing has been around for so long, I really just don't get how people start smoking.
Rocket Sauce is defying you, man. It is a disgusting habit.
It's we'll see when we do your coming of age. Maybe you'll learn a lesson, Ryan. I'm in flavor. It's so disgusting. It's
it is gross.
I can kind of see like a teenager, getting that pressure and like everyone's like, hey, well, look, I found my parents' cigarettes. I'm gonna, light one up. But really, it's just, how do you start doing that? Where it's like, I need to take this smelly, smoky thing, set it on fire, and inhale these toxins. That's my way to relax.
I
just never understood it.
Well, you do get a feeling of like it's like any sort of drug or anything, even like caffeine or whatever. You do get some sort of because it raises your blood pressure and all that stuff. So you get a feeling of warmth, and it does do something to you.
Yeah, I could see the addictive nature kind of taking over, but the idea of like just physically start, I think it's so disgusting to like whenever I see a cigarette, it's a disgusting looking thing, and the idea of taking that and putting it in my mouth is like.
Well, I tell you, man, like I watch a lot of old movies, and I like when the guy brings out from his breast pocket, he pulls out that cigarette pack and he pulls one out and he taps it on the cigarette holder.
There's a romanticism with it.
Yeah, to get the tobacco all on one side and then lights it up and all that stuff. It's
cinematically, it's extremely visual. It's a great gimmick, the pulling it out, the lighting it up, and then the smoke trailing through the air. There's such visual interest there, but ew.
Well, and what I enjoy about a cigar is that you're just inhaling the smoke in your mouth. You're not putting it down your lungs, which I could never bring myself to do. Like people always say, "Oh, it's just so easy. You just inhale it." But I can't. Like as soon as the smoke hits my mouth, that's it. I don't like. My gut reaction is to not breathe that in. So putting it in your mouth and tasting it is one thing, but to actually put it in your lungs and all that, it's just a little gross.
So many great sound bites.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. Nobody cares about this show enough to do sound bites for it anymore. So don't worry about it. You're free, man. You're free to say whatever you want to say. I am curious about the extra chair behind you. Are you expecting a guest? Are we going to have somebody join us?
That's my co-pilot.
Well, you're flying solo then today.
Exactly. So I'm going like this. Somebody will come in the bag and say, "What's that?" Like, "Don't touch that. Don't get cocky."
Mr. Han Solo.
The old chair started to wobble and wiggle. There's something weird, like there's like a single pole that goes up to support the chair, and I noticed it just like one little washer or something started to break down and crumble, and now the entire chair just wobbles. So I replaced it, but I haven't gotten rid of the old chair because sometimes it's just convenient to have a second chair, even though it's wobbly.
The old chair, I find it always goes through stages. Like you never just really throw it out. It'll sit behind you for a while, and then it gets moved by the door, and then it actually gets moved into the garage. Then eventually it gets to the side of the road. But it takes like many, many weeks for that to actually happen.
It's a shame because like the rest of the chair is fine. It's just one little bit. And I've turned it upside down, taken things off, trying to find where is that one little piece that broke. Is there some way I can reinforce it, replace a washer or something? I can't find it. On the bottom of those chairs where you do the little lever thing, it's like all sealed in. So it's just impossible to open that.
It's like a round plastic thing?
It's like a bit of metal where it's like all sealed in, and like if I could get in there, I might be able to figure it out. But that's the whole disposable technology, disposable merchandise.
That's right.
It's like when they sell a little kid's toy that has batteries, but you can't access the batteries to change them.
Yep.
It's like, just throw it away.
Yeah.
What is that?
I was listening to SDC Pod today, and they were talking about these beds, these Serta bed. No, not Serta. What the heck beds were they? I can't remember, but they're like these foam mattress beds.
Sealy Posturepedic?
No, it's like a new thing. I can't remember the name of them. Well, anyways, they're like foam beds, and they're cheaper.
Like that memory foam?
I think so, and they're cheaper than a regular Serta mattress or something like that. But you're supposed to throw them out every 3 years.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Which I keep a mattress for like 15, 20 years before I start thinking about getting rid of it.
You must have some seriously fun stains there. It's like a tapestry.
No. We don't eat in bed anymore, so
eating in bed. That's gross. No. Don't do that. Never
Never ate in bed.
Do you wear pajamas when you go to bed?
I wear this.
Just like comfortable clothes, right?
If it's cold, I'll keep the hoodie on. If it's warm, I'll take the hoodie off. But I will change my t-shirt a lot of times because I find that if I sleep in these, the collar wears out. I don't know if it's because like you're lying on your side and it kind of stretches it out or whatever.
Yes,
so I will put on an old shirt. But if I'm too tired, I'll just crash right in
I lost a lot of t-shirts when my kids were like infants, and you hold on them and they just grab your collar and start pulling. Doesn't take much.
Yeah. My niece was into that. That was her thing. Hold on to the shirt. It's like, come on, let go. And I just want to mention that it's John Lennon's. It would have been John Lennon's 80th birthday today. 80. And you're like, who's John Lennon?
For a second there, I was, yeah.
Come on, you know who
For
John
a second
Lennon is.
there. Yes,
Come on.
I've been to the Imagine thing.
Oh, yeah. I guess you would have. You would have been able to visit that.
Yeah, and I was outside the building where he lived and all that.
Yeah. Did you ever go to the? You probably don't know what I'm talking about, but the physical graffiti building from Led Zeppelin.
I don't know what that is.
In New York. So they one of Led Zeppelin's albums. It's just this building, and they did like all these like cardboard cutouts and everything for the original album back in the 70s, and your inserts would like change different. So there'd be all these cutouts for the windows, and the regular one you put that insert in, and it would say physical graffiti. But if you spun it around, it'd have different photos of different people, and they'd all be in the windows of the building. And people go to the building and get their photo taken at the physical graffiti building. If I knew we were talking about this, I could have grabbed the record and showed you, but it's all the way upstairs. So.
There's a lot of stuff to do in New York.
Yeah. I'd love to go there sometime.
I'm interested in going back. It's been long enough.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
There you go.
That's it.
I didn't do anything this week that you would find interesting, aside from watching more Star Trek. But I'm still not done with the first season. I've got a ways to go. Although I did just watch Tomorrow is Yesterday, which is a pretty good one.
That's the Gideon Gate of Tomorrow thing, whatever.
No, the Enterprise goes like the slingshot effect.
Oh, that one. They go back and talk to Terry Gar.
No. This is the one where they get the Air Force pilot. And they beam him on board the Enterprise, and then it's the whole like, well, we can't send you back because you know too much, but at the same time, he has to go back because he's going to have a son that is instrumental to the future.
Always, of course.
What do we do? It's also the one where Kirk is looking away, and then he turns the camera and zooms in on him, and he goes, "What?" There's a popular GIF.
Yeah. I like it when the GIFs pop up. I'm watching.
One thing you get from going back and watching all these old ones is you realize a couple of things. One, Kirk's really a stickler. Like as captain, he doesn't take any nonsense. Like he's very to a point where it's like you're like, whoa, I don't want to get this guy upset.
Yeah. Do you remember when he said that he wouldn't have Will Wheaton on the bridge of his ship? He would kick him off.
When did he say that?
Like when Star Trek: The Next Generation was coming out, and they were asking.
Oh, just an interview kind of.
Yeah, thing. Like they'd ask William Shatner, would you actually have would Captain Kirk actually have a kid on the bridge? He's like, I'd get that kid off the bridge right away. And it's like, you're not really Captain Kirk,
Yeah. But it does make sense because it was treated a little bit more like, old school official. This is a ship.
Yeah.
This is a functioning ship. You don't have kids and passersby just constantly visiting the bridge.
Well, that was the idea, right? Is the original Star Trek was a little more militaristic, with the idea with the Next Generation is that they weren't at war or anything like that. So you had more luxury. It was a bigger ship. They'd bring their families on.
There were schools and, so much else going on. Another thing, notice a lot is Spock quite often votes to kill people. There are a lot of scenarios where it's like, you know, the logical thing to do is if this guy's causing trouble and we can't stop him, that's one course of action we really got to consider.
That's right. And then Bones says, "Are you crazy, Spock? We can't just throw this man's life away."
Mm-hmm. There was a great episode in that, a great moment in that episode where Spock's trying to figure out like these calculations for getting them back through time, but at the same time, Kirk is trapped down on the planet, and McCoy goes up to him, and he's like, you know, all this is going on. The captain's down there. Shouldn't you be working on those calculations? And Spock, who's just standing there, just looks at him and goes, "I am," and he just like goes back to his thoughts.
That's right. That's right. Spock was a badass, man.
Mm-hmm. And Sulu and Uhura feature so much in that show. I kind of in memory imagine them like in the background doing their thing, and it's all, you know, Kirk and Spock and stuff. But they have more screen time than Scotty so far. It's really quite amazing how much they did with them.
Yeah,
and you get little aspects of their characters. You know, like you learn a lot about Sulu without having to be taken to Sulu's quarters, and you know, this is my weapons collection. I love collecting weapons. You know, you just get that information, you know, through casual conversation. It's great.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they had the budget to show Sulu's quarters, so.
Well, yeah, but I mean, just well written.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. Well, I haven't watched any Star Trek, but I don't know if you've heard of this show called Schitt's Creek. Have you ever heard of this show?
You've mentioned it. I've seen. I've been meaning to watch it.
Thank you for saying that I have mentioned it, because I have been talking about this show for years now. Mm-hmm. Years and years and years. I think since this podcast started, I've been talking about Schitt's Creek. And nobody watched it. But now that it went ahead and won like every Emmy award, or what is it? TV is Emmys, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It won every Emmy award for comedy. Now people are watching it. Now people are talking about it. Like the Emmy Awards are more important than my recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
What's up with that?
Well, that's it. That's why a lot of those shows that, you know, you're like, this is a great show, but it got canceled right away. Nobody's watching it. It's like it needs the
boost,
the accolades. You know, you got to get some awards. You got to get something big happening. You know, a lot of well-written shows, stuff like News Radio was a really fun show that's like nobody really seemed to latch onto. And,
well, News Radio kind of jumped the shark after Phil Hartman passed away.
Well, that a bit out of their control. But,
yeah.
You know, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I just think
John
now
Lovitz was pretty good.
And now there's just so much content. You know, it's just an incredible amount that who can keep up with it all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was pretty high on, like, every time I go on Netflix, it's on the top 10 thing. So I'm happy for that show, because it's
is that on my Netflix?
It might be, I don't know, but I'm happy for the show because it has all my local haunts in it. It features it.
Right, you mentioned they film it in your neighborhood.
And if you ever come and visit, I'll take you on a Schitt's Creek tour. I did that with my aunt and uncle before pre-COVID last fall, but getting on a year ago. And they were quite happy to see where they shoot Schitt's Creek.
6 seasons, I got.
Yeah, and we've been on for about 6 years, right? We're in our 6th season, so there you go. Rocket Sauce wants the tour. Come on down. Take you on the tour. And Kyle has joined the chat.
Oh, hey, Kyle.
Hey, Kyle, you just missed Star Trek talk.
I was going to say, it's like he must have known. They're talking about Star Trek.
Sorry, dude. You got to rewind it now, because I didn't watch any Star Trek this week. I actually didn't watch very much of anything because there was podcasts, and I don't know what the heck happened. It's just one of those weeks where... I did all my normal things of going to work and doing all the things you have to do around the house. But I think where I lost the majority of my time is you got to constantly tune in to see what's the latest stupid thing that came out of the White House. Oh,
and
boy.
It's like, oh, all right, what's going on here? And that honestly has been where a lot of my time is just, I'm watching this interview now. I'm watching that interview. I'm hearing this audio clip.
Yeah. I really have to like force myself to limit Like I'll sit down for a half an hour and say, okay, that's it, because I could just sit here. Like they just start repeating themselves, you know, like it's the same thing over and over again. It's like, okay, I get it. Like just do something with this guy already, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's amazing how much it snowballed of just, you know, again, and like this, and now this, and now this. And
yeah.
At least we got the fly as like a little distraction.
The fly on what's his face?
Pence's head. Yeah.
Pence's head. Yeah. I've apparently I slept through that entire thing happening.
I listened to it. I was mostly listening and doing other things, and then, you know, I keep hearing all this fly. What is going on with the fly? And, oh, okay. Fly landed on his head.
Well, we had just finished recording Quick Save Club that night, and I was so tired that I went to watch it. It was going to start in like 20 minutes, and I passed out on the couch. And then when I woke up, Sarah's like, "Oh, you missed the fly," and she had taken photos of it and everything. I'm like, I didn't even know what was happening. I was completely out of it.
Well, you didn't really miss much. I was a bit disappointed in the vice presidential debate.
That is how a debate should be. It should be
that's the thing.
To fall asleep. It shouldn't be just two old men yelling at each other.
Well, that's the thing. The Trump-Biden debate, at least you got some fireworks, and I was like, okay, it's to the extreme where this is completely ridiculous. But when you take Trump's nonsense out of it, believe me, Pence still had quite a bit. You're left with two politicians who are just, you know, praising themselves and deflating the others, and that's all it is. It's just politicians saying politician stuff. It does remind you, though, that Biden and Harris are not, you know, these saintly, you know, wonderful people that are going to come in and save everybody. They're just regular people. They're regular politicians. They're just not the insane extreme on the other side. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for Kamala Harris, like I always thought that, like I think she's a great. She'd make it for a great vice president. She might even make for a great president sometime. But she does do that politician thing where she will evade an answer very skillfully. You know.
Yes.
And, I mean, every politician really needs to do that. You know.
Well, that's the game. You know that. You always keep your cards close to your vest, right? You never come out and say exactly what you want to do. They keep asking about the Supreme Court. What are you going to do with the Supreme Court? And they do the thing, hey, thanks for the question and blah, blah, blah. And then immediately they're on another topic with some prepared speech of, I want to talk about this. Doesn't matter what you ask me. I need to talk about this at this point.
It's one of those things, like for that Supreme Court thing, like basically Trump is going to get this next pick through. It's going to happen. There's just nothing. They have control of the Senate until January. Even if they win the election, they can push that through easily. So now the question for the Democrats is, well, what are you going to do about it? And a lot of people are saying, well, just add more judges, and we'll just add some more Democrat judges, which is kind of shady. But I mean, what are you going to do when the other side is cheating, kind of thing? I don't know.
You can.
But she can't just come out and say, well, no, we would never do that. Because what if they do decide to do that? She doesn't really have a position where she
don't deny it, but you don't address it. You just brush it aside and talk about, you know, oh, look, you remember what they did? You know, like, can you believe this?
The best, though, was when Pence said, hey, Kamala Harris, how dare you make this coronavirus political? I guffawed at that one. That was special. That was something else. Because all they have done since day one is make the coronavirus political, and it really shouldn't be. There should be nothing political about it.
Well, there shouldn't be any, but let's face it, as soon as the election starts, everything is politicized. Everything becomes an issue. Everything has to do with it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think people would like how like if it were me, I was just talking to Sarah about this. Like if I was running everything, just the idea, like we're told since we're young children, since we're very small, you have to earn a living. Well, right away, what does that tell you? Your life is nothing unless you're out there earning a living. Unless you're out there doing it, you're worthless unless you're earning a living.
That's right.
So I would do away with that. That's step one. Let's get rid of that. You don't need to earn a living. Everyone's allowed to live. Okay. Now, if you want any bonus, if you want any extra, then you go out and work and do some more stuff. Oh, here we go. Bill wants to get in on political talk, but Repubs can say anything and go back on it later. Look, they just...
Very true.
There is just no... It's like arguing with a toddler, the Republican Party. They're just toddlers now. It's like, don't do that, and then they just go and do it anyways,
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do with them. So,
well, it doesn't matter what you said. You just keep talking about what your rights are. It's like, I can do it. Technically, I can do it. So,
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Just ridiculous.
Right. Politicians, you got to keep your secrets. You gotta do it carefully, but you just don't be a nasty con man who has no business in politics, If I could bring this back to Star Trek.
Sure, why not?
Make Kyle happy. Nichelle Nichols tells a great story about Roddenberry, of how he was keeping secrets. She says back when they were doing the show and they had done a few episodes, and I think she was slowly realizing that this was not just a cheap action show of the week. So she goes up to Roddenberry one day and says, "I know what you're doing." It's like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "This isn't some throwaway show. You're actually writing morality plays, but you're just hiding them in the 23rd century." And Roddenberry goes, "Shh, don't say anything. The network hasn't figured that out yet."
Kyle says, Trump is already saying the election is rigged because losing. Yep. I mean, that basically setting it up already. Yeah. Like that, like when he loses, he's going to be, "Oh, this thing was rigged. Oh, this thing is throw out this votes, throw out these votes."
No, anything that doesn't jive with his plan. That's why he's shutting down the whole virtual debate thing, because it completely goes against the image he's trying to set of the coronavirus. You get cured. You get cured,
and then they'll
just go that.
They cut him off.
Every American is going to get the exact same care that the president just got for free.
Yeah.
It's going to go away. He's
and
cured.
Then that's when they cut him off and they give out the facts, actually, whatever the facts are. And he can't deal with that. He wouldn't just, because he needs to be big and verbose and talk over everybody, because that's his shtick.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he does.
That would be fun, though, if his Wi-Fi started kicking out during the debate and he started going robo.
Well, see, that's the other thing, too. It wouldn't be like what we're doing now. It would be with, satellites or fiber. It'd probably use fiber optic cable because there's a lot less lag. And it would be like an actual stable feed with a backup and everything. It wouldn't be like what we're doing over the internet. It would be, especially, and, even with us when we're doing this show, if we put in like 4 other people on the show, that's where things start getting crazy with the lag and whatever. But when it's just you and I, it's generally pretty smooth. Considering you're all the way in friggin' Japan, man.
Sure.
I say something and you hear it in a nanosecond. That's insane. Insane.
That's science, yo. That's science.
Let's talk about some movies. Let's talk about. I have not watched too many movies this week, unfortunately.
I haven't watched anything. I've been watching reality.
So I finally watched The 7-Year Itch, which is a Billy Wilder movie with Marilyn Monroe. You know that iconic image where she's over the she's standing over the grate, in New York City, and the train goes by and blows up her skirt. That's from this movie, and it's always a movie that I'm a big Billy Wilder fan. I have a bunch of his movies. But this one I was always kind of lukewarm on, but I've never actually seen the whole movie. It's one that I've only seen bits and pieces, and I understand now why I've never really bonded with that movie like I did this time, because I watched it from the beginning, and it's one of those movies where you really need all of the setup for the rest of the movie to kind of make sense. Because if you just kind of tune in the middle, it's just this guy and this girl, and they're really, you don't know what the heck they're doing, like what's going on. They kind of seem interested in each other, but also not, or whatever. But then when you watch the beginning of the movie and how it's set up, so this guy so I guess this was a thing in New York back in the 50s, where they wouldn't want like all the family in the apartment in New York City because it would get too hot and air conditioning wasn't a big thing yet. So anyone who had any sort of money would send the family off to Maine or off to, the cottage or whatever, so they can have like a good time by the lake. And the man would stay at home and still go to work until his vacation would come up or whatever. And then he'd join his family over the summer months. Right. And so that's basically the setup for this. So this guy sends his family off, and this is where he runs into Marilyn Monroe, who is staying in the apartment above him. She's house sitting for somebody. And the shenanigans just go on from there. He doesn't want to really cheat on his wife, but it's Marilyn Monroe. He finds it like, he tries to put these barriers between them. He's got his front door and she's got her front door. We'll keep each other separate. And then it turns out like in his apartment, it's one of those duplexes that the landlord has converted into apartments. So he's got a staircase that goes up to her apartment, but it's blocked off. And she's kind of like, she's innocent. She's not really like looking to have a relationship with him. She's doing that Marilyn Monroe thing, and she actually takes the nails out of the thing so she can have access to his apartment. And he has air conditioning, so it can cool her apartment upstairs. And now she has access to his apartment, and it's just shenanigans. There's the nosy landlord, kind of like Mr. Roper.
Mr. Roper, just gonna say.
Yeah, who just kind of, or Don Knotts or whatever, kind of sneaks like, hey, what's going on here? Oh, I know what you're doing, and he's just Marilyn Monroe sitting there with her legs out, and all that stuff. So it's good. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. 7-Year Itch. Billy Wilder hits another one out of the park. And then another movie I watched was Yes Man with Jim Carrey and Zoe Deschanel. She played the older sister in Almost Famous. And then she had her own show that you probably don't know. You were in Japan by the time she got that show. New Girl or something Girl.
No, I'm trying to think of this movie. I keep picturing Liar Liar. Yes,
yeah, it's pretty much the same kind of idea. I don't remember in Liar Liar how he gets a spell put on him or something like that where he can't tell.
His kid makes a wish on his birthday cake. Garbage.
That's what well, this is pretty much the same kind of idea. He attends a self-help thing. His life isn't going very well. He's like losing his best friend. He lost his he has an ex-wife. He lost her. And he's kind of like just losing everyone around him due to all this self-isolation. Then he runs into an old acquaintance of his who tells him, hey, you're still working at that bank. I knew you like 10 years ago and you're still working at that bank. Like, you gotta join this self-help group that I joined where they tell you, just say yes to everything. The rule is to say yes, no matter what someone asks you to do something or a favor or whatever, always just say yes. And so he goes to this seminar. He actually runs into the guy who runs it, and they have this little thing, and he kind of like takes it to an obsession, right? Like where he just, whatever anyone says to him, he says yes. And through that, he ends up running into this girl, Zoe Deschanel, and he starts falling in love with her. So he's thinking that saying yes all the time is like really this thing that's creating all these good things in his life. He gets promoted at work, all this stuff. Then she finds out eventually that he's just like when she asks him to do something, she's thinking that he's saying yes because he wants to do it, but then she finds out that he's actually saying yes because he is part of this program. And he's just saying yes because he feels as if he has to. Friction happens. But it was funny. It had a lot of funny moments. There was a few moments in the movie where I kind of cringed a little bit at the acting. It could have been done a little bit better. But it had plenty of funny moments. It wasn't like too much Jim Carrey. It wasn't like Ace Ventura, over the top Jim Carrey.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the right amount of Jim Carrey. And, it's a comedy. Like,
I get it. What gets me is I hate when movies revolve around a secret. Because that's always what's going to happen is like, oh, I've got a secret, or I'm not telling somebody this. And then it's like the third act is like, oh, we learned that the secret, we learned you were lying, and now it's the separation and everyone's angry, and then they come. It's just the formula is so tired.
Well, that's the formula of almost every comedy. Now it was, I will say, like, I did, like, groan at Sarah, like, I'm like, oh, here we go with this stuff, but it wasn't hammy. It wasn't like done, like, it was done in a very natural way. I'm not going to spoil it for the people who would actually watch this movie, but it was done in a natural way where it wasn't like he was holding it back. He wasn't purposely not telling her things. It was like this was the beginning of a relationship, and what he was doing, he wasn't actually thinking of how it would affect her if she found out. And when she finds out, that's when he, like, realizes, oh yeah, really, I should have thought about that a little bit more. It was done in a more natural way than that. So, and you can't say because you haven't seen the movie. So there you go.
I haven't. No. I did look back through the comments here for some content. Rocket Sauce. I hope we get Richard's reaction to John Rambo being in Mortal Kombat 11.
Where is that?
I did see that on the Twitter. Somebody posted that, and I believe the caption was it? The caption was something like, Mortal Kombat is turning into Smash Brothers, but your dad picked all the characters. Which is kind of interesting. Like, I wonder if we are going to get some sort of 80s collaboration, throw a bunch of 80s action icons into some game. The Broforce game, that's basically what that was.
Yeah.
So what am I saying? We already got it.
The only thing, like, I think that's cool that Rambo will be in the new Mortal Kombat. Or is Mortal
I can't
Kombat
imagine how he'd
one?
play, though, because he's all about the guns and stuff.
Well, here's the thing. I like it, but then I would have to play Mortal Kombat in order to play John Rambo. So
I thought you liked Mortal Kombat.
I do. I like the old.
Minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like the old one, and I like playing it against Sarah because I can beat her. But anyone else, I don't know what the moves are or anything like that. I just know the tripping thing, the cheesy tripping thing.
Sweep, uppercut. Yeah.
I know a couple of Scorpions moves, but I'm not very good.
Right. That game was so hard to play in the arcades because you really needed that move list. And it's not the kind of thing like Street Fighter is a little more intuitive. It's a lot of half circles, quarter circles.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat, like back, high punch, low kick, this way. I
have to correct some people in the chat because why not? They're not right, and I need to correct them. Catherine from Flock Talk's sister is on Schitt's Creek. She might be, but I don't think that's the show that she's on regularly. She's on Kim's Convenience. That's another Canadian show that she's regular on. I don't know if she's ever popped up on Schitt's Creek, but she might have. She's an actress, and she acts, so she might have been on there.
I did not know that.
Fun fact. Kyle is plugging the Lower Decks, that cartoon.
Ugh. Oh, it started?
Yeah, well, yeah. I told you I watched an episode of it, didn't I?
I guess I forgot.
Yeah, I don't blame you. He said it was a legit good episode, though. Brought back a few next-gen characters.
The voice actors, actual, or just the characters?
I don't know.
Oh, look at this. 90s Jim Carrey is good time. Sly does the VO. Hey, that's neat.
Okay, so Yes Man came out in 2008. So I don't know if that falls under the good times or not. And I'm not allowed to say good times apparently to Joe on STC Pod. He doesn't like it when I say good times.
Why?
Which well, I don't know. But I think that's a good time that he doesn't like it when I say good times. He doesn't like it that I have a saying that other people have caught. He's very jealous. He's just jealous of everything. Every time I do something, it's mentioned on that show. Like, why is Kevin picked to do that? Why are they talking to Kevin about that? I come up on that show all the time. It's ridiculous. I don't know. Yeah, RoboCop and Terminator. So MK11, that must have been the one that came out a couple of years ago.
They did horror people before that, right? Like Freddy Krueger and Jason and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have one. I think it's 10 I have that has Freddy Krueger, but I haven't played the game yet.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like the early Mortal Kombat games, they're fun. But then, yeah, you go into, I think Mortal Kombat 4 or I don't know, at some point, like 4 was in the arcade and that was kind of like a 3D thing and they had weapons. I never quite understood that one. And I think I played one of the console versions beyond that, but that's it. Like, I could never grasp the 3D run around Mortal Kombats. But now they're back to the 2D, right?
Yeah, it's like 3D in
The 3D,
2D
2D,
characters
yeah.
and a 2D environment.
2D
And
plane, right?
the one I did play, I thought they did a good job with is that one. It was Mortal Kombat versus the DC universe.
I heard that was decent, but you know, they took out the fatalities and kind of tamed it down for
Oh
the,
yeah.
the DC.
Yeah, they couldn't have. Yeah, they couldn't have
Right.
Superman like pulling out someone's heart. What the heck was the name of that game?
It was Mortal Kombat versus
Justice?
DC Universe.
No, it was called something Justice or something. I don't know. It was all right though. I like the way that they did the 2D and 3D thing. Like they would kind of like move the plane a little bit, but you could always like figure out where your character was. You didn't get lost, and I thought it was pretty good. Oh, Bill's liking the lower decks too.
Oh
my goodness.
A couple
There
Star
you go.
Trek jokes.
Couple of deep Star Trek jokes. I don't know. Well, you know what? Maybe just write them down and I'll read them, and then I don't have to watch the show. And yes, Bill, you did miss Schitt's talk. The offer's open to you though as well, Bill. If you ever want to go on a Schitt's Creek tour, just head on down after COVID, post-COVID. Head on down and I'll take you on a tour. The only thing we don't have here is the hotel. That's in Orangeville, but we got everything else. All right.
No.
Joe's catchphrase is "No one cares, dude." Yeah, he doesn't say that very much. Very good. Yeah, no, he's fine with himself having a catchphrase. He just doesn't like when anyone else has something that other people picked up. He doesn't like anyone that acknowledgement that anyone watches this show. Everybody needs to be watching him 24/7.
I think you're looking a little too far. I mean, it could just be he just doesn't like you.
Now that you know what, it's been a popular thing this week. Let me tell you. After we're done this, I'll show you some DMs. It's insane.
Ooh.
It's insane. I don't even know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. I sent out DMs saying, "Is this really happening?" And nothing back. Not even bother to respond. So
What's going on?
I don't know. I don't want to talk about it here. I'll tell you after. Tell you later. That's pretty much it. The only other thing I did this week is I watched this Led Zeppelin DVD that I haven't watched in forever. Led Zeppelin's crazy because they don't like title things.
This is just called Led Zeppelin DVD.
Ridiculous. I mean, come on. That's all it's called. You can't have a Blu-ray of this because it's just the DVD. But this thing is jam-packed. It's got 2 DVDs on it. And let me tell you, if you're a Led Zeppelin fan, this thing is loaded with stuff. It's 2 discs.
Wow.
And you get 2 books. There's a book there. Even though they're kind of hidden in there, but there's 2 books there. And it's one of those, like, you know how a Blu-ray you can fit, or a DVD, sorry, you can fit, I think, 3 or 4 hours on there, and it's literally packed with 3 to 4 hours of stuff. There's lots of stuff on there. You got a full concert, and then they put a bunch of extras in there, and then the other one's like a mesh of a bunch of different concerts, and it's takes you through, like, they lasted for 10 years. They pretty much were just in the decade of the 70s, and it takes you like through all their different performances throughout the 70s. So you get to see them start where they're all like dressed in psychedelic outfits and a psychedelic guitar, and then by the end of the 70s they're all like dressed in like the
sequin jumpsuits.
No, it's not 70. It's like they were so far ahead of time. They were just like more like it looks like they're in the 80s, where they have that prep look. That's the word. Like that preppy, like, the shirts and the pleated pants and all that stuff. So
hey, Steven's here now, and look at this. There's private conversations going on while we're having a show.
Yeah, got to pay for the Patreon for the good gossip. Nah, I don't think anyone would want to pay for that, honestly. Well,
Hi.
I think that's it, man. I got nothing else.
Pretty
Literally, that's
much.
all. That's
It's been a slow week.
yeah.
You
I
know, I'm
mean,
glad you held up that DVD though, because it reminds me just how much better the DVD packaging was than Blu-rays.
it depends. I do have some decent Blu-rays that are packaged very well. But yeah, they used to go all out for these DVDs. But here's the thing. When this came, like this was like 30 or 40 bucks, right? Nobody's spending 30 or 40 bucks on a Blu-ray now because of streaming. Everyone would just balk at that price and say, "No, I'm not doing that." So that's why the packaging is just not that good. Because eventually, that thing is going to be in the $10 bin. You know.
Well, they started a while back. I remember actual DVDs, like the disc itself, would have like a nice color, disc, and some fun font or whatever, a little decorative, maybe a photo, and then eventually they just started becoming like silver, just basic gray or silver, just the name of the movie. That's it. All the excess is being taken away because people just prefer to get the stuff streaming. So,
but
why put all the extra money into the physical content?
But there are a few companies that do a really good job, like Criterion. They package the Blu-rays and and load them up with tons of stuff and give you like a booklet and all that stuff. And then there's Arrow, which is another company that they give you a reversible cover and load up the Blu-ray with tons of stuff. There's still some companies out there that are doing some good stuff. Kevin has to change his clothes and jump onto another show. I don't know if I'll change my clothes for that one. I do need to go on to another show, but we got time. DVDs just get to the point. No crazy graphics before the main menu. I don't know about that. There's some DVDs that good DVD sets were always packed with goodies. That's true.
Here's a nice looking DVD. I bought this a little while ago. I finally got my Van Helsing.
Oh, 3-disc collector's edition.
2 disc.
Oh, 2.
But check this out. You open it up, and it's got the nice graphic and everything. It opens up there. You got like Transylvania. There's like a bridge jumping scene. Opens up even more.
Wow.
And look at that. You got a Hugh Jackman, and there's like little insert stuff in here.
Nice.
And discs that are all cool. And then you got a Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
Beckins, what's her name there? No pamphlet there, but really nice packaging.
Yeah.
It's a goofy, silly movie. I enjoy it. Really nice packaging.
So you just found that recently?
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, oh, you know what? Because I just watched the movie not too long ago, but I am interested in seeing some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. I do like the werewolf. I recommend everybody check out Van Helsing for the werewolf scene because that's how you shoot a werewolf. He looks cool. He looks menacing. He moves fast. They don't hold that image of like clunky early 2000s CG. Just in and out.
Bill
DVD
says,
menu Easter eggs. Yeah, right.
There are some Blu-rays that I will never get rid of just for the menu screens and the transitions and the Easter eggs in them. Like Spinal Tap. Like those guys went all out for their DVD, and like there's like commentary and just all sorts of crazy things in the menus. You got to keep it just for the menus.
I remember that TV show Dinosaurs with the bodysuits and everything. Just when Bill mentioned that, Easter eggs, there were like little hidden dinosaur eggs in the menus that were, you couldn't see them. You just had to like jump around with the remote, and occasionally you'd highlight one, you click on it, and you get some other like commentary or like behind the scenes sketch or something that otherwise you would not be able to see. It was so much fun, just like hunting for things in there.
Yeah.
Kyle likes my package.
Simpsons, those box sets had a lot of extra things in them too. And what was the other one I was going to talk about? Oh yeah, and A Mighty Wind. That one, I think I talked about it when we did the episode, but I'll talk about it again because what else we're going to talk about? That DVD, that performance that they give in A Mighty Wind, 20 towards the end of the show. It's all that whole movie builds up to that one performance that they're going to do, and then they do the performance. But as they're doing the performance, the movie's cutting away to progress the story. But that entire all the actors actually did that entire performance, and it's all on the DVD. I don't know if it's on YouTube or something like that, but it's actually cool to have it on the DVD, and you can watch the whole thing. And there was a bunch of stuff that was cut out from the movie for time or whatever that was really funny and good times. So that's worth hunting down and keeping.
So there is still a place for physical media.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, all the extras and your audio commentaries and all that. A lot of it on Blu-ray has been brought over from the DVD. Like nobody recorded a new, like they just take the same commentary over. But you know, it is what it is. But you look at it, somebody, because I do follow a few Blu-ray sites on Twitter, and they posted a breakdown of all the physical media sales in the United States for September. And still to this day, it was in a pie chart, and 76% of the pie was taken up with DVDs. It was like 76 it was something like 76, and then 16 was Blu-ray, and then the rest was 4K DVDs. No VHS. That was left off the list. But still, can you imagine? The DVDs are still... But I think it's mostly old people, right? That just have DVD players. They don't have.
That's me. Yeah.
They don't have a Blu-ray player. I
was out the other day, and we still have rental shops, right? They still have those, and I was passing through, and I noticed sometimes they sell off their old rental DVDs. And they'll sell them kind of cheap. And I saw, okay, look, there's Terminator, there's Predator. Great. I was really thinking, I was sitting there thinking, I don't have Predator on DVD. I've got it on Blu-ray, but man, I could have it on DVD.
No, that's insane. That's crazy. I mean, if there's something on that Predator DVD that's not on the Blu-ray, yeah, for sure. But
it's just when you see a Predator DVD kind of cheap, it's like, well,
yeah.
Have you seen Steven's stack of movies? He buys the same movie 12 times over.
Wow. I mean, why wouldn't you?
You got to, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's got unlimited space. I think his apartment must be like Doctor Who's TARDIS, where you just go in and it's actually a lot bigger on the inside. He's got like that dimensional technology. Something. I don't know. I don't know where he puts everything. They certainly come in handy when the internet goes down. That is a fact.
Yep.
But not when the power goes out. You still can't watch your DVDs.
How often does the internet go down?
Not often. Not often for me.
Is it down long enough to watch a movie?
Not often.
It's like you start watching a movie. Internet's back. Turn this garbage off.
When it's mostly power failures. Like we had the last holiday, the power was out all day because our power grid it's not series, it's all set on parallel. So if one part goes down, the whole thing goes down. Will you buy the big Shatner Blu-ray collection of Star Trek Captain's Doc from Shout Factory? I might. I'm thinking about it.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Any good?
I haven't seen it either, but the package looks good, so I might. I don't know. It's been on television. It's been quite a while. I don't know.
I heard it sounded really cool when I first heard about it. It's like Shatner interviews all the captains, you know?
Yeah.
But then I heard a review saying it's really more about Shatner and like his journey is like the center, and then all the other stuff is there. You know, you get to hear from all those other actors, but it's just kind of like me.
Do you remember that interview show Shatner had where it was like a chair that was shaped like an S, and the guest would sit in one side of the chair and Shatner would sit. So Shatner's facing this way in the chair and the guest is facing that way in the chair. And it's like basically you're sitting there looking at each other like this.
No.
Do you remember that? And it reminded me of that old SNL skit, The Love Toilet. You must remember that with Kevin Nealon and Victoria Jackson. Or it's two toilets like sit like that. They sit together on the toilet. But Shatner did this show, and it's like he's like right in their face, and they're looking over their shoulder at each other. It was just such an ill-conceived way to do an interview and to shoot an interview for television, because the camera has to be, you know, on this side to get that person's face, and then on the other side. So the cameras are like breaking there's like a line that you're not supposed to break in television. It was something else. Oh, and Shatner has a new blues album coming out, by the way, which I am really excited to listen to. Not buy, but I do want to listen to it. It seems very interesting.
Shatner with Avery Brooks is a tough watch.
Those are both kooky guys, so I can imagine.
Well, Avery Brooks is very much the embodiment of the Shatner acting. You know, that was his style too, being very over the top and giving those big monologues.
He just didn't have the big pregnant pauses.
Shatner had a lot more charisma, you know. There's still a great YouTube video out there called Captain Sisko Yells at Everybody. And it's just a super cut of him screaming.
Well, you know, all those Shatner pauses was him trying to remember the next line, right? Like he couldn't remember what to say next. He was like, Spock, we must go to the transfer. Like, and then that's why he would rush like the rest of the sentence out, because it was hitting his brain what he was supposed to say next. Oh well, it's a good guy. Good show. Good times. All right, I think that's it. We've done an hour. We don't have to do any more. We've done our bit. We've pleased all of our Patreon supporters.
Yeah, if I could just make one comment here. Try a little capitalization, people. Trying to read through your comments with all this like no punctuation and things running together. Trying to be a civilized community here.
I'm sure that a lot of them are typing on phones and whatnot. So
is that an excuse?
I'm gonna give.
You
I'm gonna
can't
let
capitalize on your phone.
I will let them slide. I will not belittle them for that.
Look at Kyle here. That guy is odd, all under caps, and then capitalizes. Ha.
Yeah, like what's wrong with that? I will not belittle. I appreciate all the comments in the Toku Joe. That was a big middle finger to you, Richard. I pity everyone who's listening to this. I'll describe it. Toku Joe wrote, "I'll write what I want." All one word, no spaces, no punctuation.
No.
Good for him.
Clever, though.
Catch Kevin on the Vinyl Show next Wednesday. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows what's happening there? I don't know. But if it's on and I'm still invited by next Wednesday, I'll definitely be on there. Okay.
Hey, there's one guy on that Vinyl Show who's supposed to be on a Star Trek show. Is this ever going to happen? You want to... give you elbow pokes there?
I can poke an elbow. Sure. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of Star Trek things that are supposed to be happening, and some of it requires me to watch Star Trek, so I need to get on it.
Right? Yeah, you're supposed to be doing something too.
So you can blame me.
I'm gonna go back to my miniatures because I did spend a lot of time this past week.
I thought you were going to talk about that.
Nobody cares, but I was cleaning them and I was gluing them to bases and putting the little like rocks and things down there. So I'm in the midst of that. My goal is to get everything cleaned, based, and then primed before it gets too cold. So I have everything ready so I can paint when I want.
Is it easy to bring into your current room and just like show us a preview of what you've done?
It's in another house.
Another house.
Yep.
So then it's not easy.
Nope.
Mr. Cashler, you got two homes.
I know.
I see. All right. Well, that's it, everybody. We ran out of things to talk 45 minutes ago, and I think we did absolutely a bang-up job of covering. Nobody noticed. Follow Retro Fandango on Twitter at retro_Fandango. You can get a boner with Retro Fandango. If you need to know how, just private message me and I'll let you know. But for those in the know, get that boner. And check out our Discord. Our Discord is ever happening. Kyle's been popping up on the Discord a lot, asking questions, and hopefully he gets a response once in a while.
It was a mistake. He thought it was a Discovery chat room.
You thought it was disco? We were talking disco. Yeah, no, sorry. No, it's been good. Just asking random questions and that, and people have been answering. And yeah, it's good. Good times. Good. Should order. Oh, here comes Steven with some random. You should order in the Hero Quest when it comes out. I don't even know what that is.
Fact.
What is that?
Hero Quest is a board game with little miniatures. I guess it was kind of like a light Dungeons and Dragons, so you basically get this one box and you can play everything. You don't need all these.
So when he says you, he means you.
Me.
Okay.
Fun fact, I did have Hero Quest and it was immaculate. I got it brand new. It was a gift. I mentioned it to my wife. I thought like, hey, this game looks really fun. And she bought it for me for my birthday or Christmas or something. That was while we were in the US. And I had the thing and I opened it up and there's so many pieces inside. And it was like, there's so much to put together. I was like, hey, let's play. And she's like, I'm not playing that.
Yeah.
And I had nobody around. This is the story of my life with everything. I had nobody around who was interested in playing. So it stayed in the box, and then we moved here, and I couldn't bring everything with me, so I gave all my board games to my sister. I have no idea if she still has it, if she tossed it, gave it away, whatever, but I had a brand new Hero Quest that never got used, and it's probably in the trash. So no, I'm not going to order the new one. I'm very happy with the game that I'm playing.
I have 3 copies of Risk and nobody to play it.
I'd love to play Risk.
Nobody.
Are they all like Risk, or are they like, Simpsons Risk? Or
Nope. I got Risk, like just plain old Risk, and then I got this. My buddy Frank got it for me. It's like a throwback Risk, like it came out in the 1920s. So all the pieces are like real wood, but they're just like squares or whatever.
Yeah, I think they were just like symbolic.
Yeah. So you had to use your imagination a little bit, but the the
it's
board
more like in the movies when they're pushing the things with the sticks on the strategy table.
Yes, exactly.
We'll advance on this flank and take them by surprise.
Exactly. So there's that one, and then I have it's like the 40th anniversary edition of Risk. So it's all the pieces are made out of metal, and they're very detailed.
You should have a game where you have your plastic pieces versus your metal pieces versus your wood pieces.
And it would just
nobody will know what's going on. It's just going to be you.
Me playing with myself. There you go. Take that audio. Nobody. Right. All right. Oh, Kyle's busting STC for not having a Discord. They're too old to figure that out. Tune into last week's episode for the Golden Girls reference because it's dead on. Okay, that's it, everybody. Thank you for joining in the chat. Thank you, Toku Joe. Bill, Start to Continue. Steven, Catmax Gaming. I should really not do this because I'm going to forget someone. It's Rocket Sauce, of course. It's Rocket Sauce was here since the beginning. I think that's it. I see there was more people in the chat, but that was, or more people watching, but that was it who commented. I think. Oh, anyways, thank you, everybody.
If you take the time to like scroll through the comments, it looks like people were saying a lot of stuff.
It does. It looks like if you go really fast, it looks like we're
wow, there was something going on here.
Yeah, like we're like a freaking Joe Biden debate. Follow people yelling. Okay, that's it. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.